Uganda Pioneers Association in Ebola, ubingwa wa jombo, UPN Ebola, wavijana mukatike na wazee wakatike, kama nini natisha ndiyo kipengele mwanzo, uzei wa jombo ndiyo uzei wa uzima, tuwakaribishe uhaki, ni kweli tu.
Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, home to the source of the Nile, the Lake Victoria and the Equator, celebrating over 50 years of independence. The presidency of Idi Amin and over 20 years of civil war belong to the past. Today, it is a modern country. Many community-based organizations are working towards a better Uganda, including Uganda Pioneers Association, founded 25 years ago in 1989.
UPA started in a very humble way. We started with a simple room. Actually, I would say it started almost my bedroom. Years later, we got a new office, which was one room. Then later, we became able to rent a house with bigger rooms, and having a permanent home is one big success, where we can be able to stand to also be able to further follow our mission and fulfill our objectives. Most of the people that joined us were the people that joined us after seeing a work camp that we took in their community. Because it was also not very usual to get a group of young people, come and stay in a community, sleep together, work together, and do something which is very responsible. It was not very, very common. So only this attracted a number of people.
We are visiting the work camp in Chibuga, where volunteers construct an orphanage for the community. Uganda Pioneers Association organizes several work camps all over Uganda. They provide a possibility for local and international volunteers to work together for 3 weeks in a variety of projects. Many of the work camps are situated in rural areas and have only limited resources.
I didn't know what to do because I was not gonna be paid, and I was doing very strong work, very hard work, still construction, but I was attracted by the cooperation with the people, the way Mr. Sam treated us, because by then we were at his project in Wales. So we were treated very well, we used to eat very well, we decided what we wanted to do and what we never wanted to do.
We are talking to Grandma Esther, the founder of the orphanage.
We need the work camp and the volunteers to help us constructing our building. The work they are doing is great, and it's important to our community here in Chibuga.
We show another example from Arua, where a branch of UPA organized a work camp on gender equality. After a one-week preparation, the participants confront the community to the topic through forum theater.
And then I came to Africa to help them. But I don't know if I'm helping them or not. I'm just enjoying it.
I actually decided to volunteer in 1986. That was when I did my first work camp when I was in school. And it even grew bigger because I got the first participation was a big motivation for me. I realized I can enrich my life, so I went on. Yeah, the vision of UPA is to promote community-based development. In this aspect, we would like to, we want to see a community that is involved in collectively identifying their needs and collectively finding solutions to their needs. So it involves that bring all the community to actively participate in changing or improving their communities. I think UPA acts as a very good organization to guide young people into discovering their talents, discovering their potentials, learning to live with people and interact with people, and also be able to choose a career.
UPA is an empowering organization. And UPA has a very big contribution to what I am right now. Very many young people would wish to go outside the country. Very many young people would wish to have very good jobs. But the most important thing about UPA is the fact that it gives young people an opportunity.
I would like to say that maybe it was very spontaneous. We did not have a very clear idea where to start. We did not have a very maybe clear strategy on how to go where. But I think we are only taken by the waves. And in the beginning, when we found the place in Pomero, we of course got the first introduction there. Because in the beginning we had a few members only centralized in one place. But through this approach, then we came to a level that we decided to start open up branches in the different parts of the country.
In Gulu, in the north of Uganda, we are visiting one of the 8 UPA branches.
When these youth went to Kampala, they went to a certain workshop with the MS Uganda. So they realized that actually some of the activities that they do, which is voluntarily, they could also be implemented in Gulu here. So it was formed from, in 1995. At the moment, the current activities which we are doing, we are trying to construct a youth center in particular. We want to have that center to actually put in cultural activities, which here can also be put there, just that the youth in the villages can come and actually try to play with, and they revive our culture, which has been actually spoiled during the period of the 20 years period of war. We go to their places, we construct their art, and we give them the basic needs sometimes voluntarily. That's basically what we are doing. When you come back next time, you'll find UPA in a different shape.
Back in Kampala, the capital of Uganda. The central branch is located here. It shares the same ground with UPA Secretariat, the administration of the organization, and the guest house for the international volunteers.
People can differentiate between the Secretariat and the central branch. The Secretariat, that's UPA you're talking about, is a focal point of all UPA branches. And central branch is under the Secretariat.
At the moment, we have the donors. They are reducing the funds, which is making our activities go down.
I wasn't the only person who trained. We were a group of students who trained. And after the training, we qualified to go to outreaches.
When the peer educators get like other opportunities outside there, they go, and we lose them. And yet, we already trained them. We've put in our resources, but they keep on reducing. I may say they fluctuate.
UPA is all about youth. It's the youth to make it visible.
UPA, it really invites almost every youth who comes by, the ones who are on internship, the ones who are educated, the ones who are not educated. I may say, it embraces everyone, because there is always what to do, regardless of your education background or any background, I may say.
I've ever been in an organization where local volunteers are not allowed to talk to international volunteers. Yeah? It's not here.
Uganda Pioneers Association in Ebola, UPA Ebola, ulimwengu dunia, tuwakaribisha nyumbani, wapendwa mwingie, usalama kwa wapendwa, kila jambo tunacho, Uganda Pioneers.
We are visiting another location of UPA, in Chikoba.
That's one very special branch in UPA, because it was mainly women organized group, and they were old. but they were very impressed with our objectives and what we are doing, so they got excited and motivated to join UPA. For some time, we tried to get young people on board, but of course the two interpretations, the age difference has been a challenge.
We are working with elder people because the youth are moving around to looking for jobs. We have a school, we have that group where we are saving the money. At the end of the year, we pay back the money to the owner. And someone can come in and can borrow the money for his own problem. Or want to buy something, he can come in and buy the money, use it. Afterward, he turn the money back.
The branches have only the board members, and these board members are the people who are managing or who are operating the branches. It's only the head office, the secretariat department with staff, but with the structure, I would say from the board, from the AGM to the board at the secretariat level, that is perfect. But I mean something needs to be done within the branch level, where at least we have a structure that comprises of staff.
Basically, because EPA is more community-based, I also would like so much to see the branches growing bigger and bigger, because it helps mobilize more the communities and communities get involved to finding their own solutions at their group.
The UPA Culture Troupe is also an independent branch of UPA.
So I decided to come back and start up a new culture troupe, a new generation. But now I think it's working out. Some people, I think, they ask, are you paid? No, I'm not paid. I'm doing voluntary work. Oh, you guys, what's that? But then, who comes and get to know what voluntary work is or voluntarism is? I think tomorrow he also still want to participate again, because really it's just doing some changes and developing, but it's also fun. So, doing work, you are not paid, but you are enjoying it.
Yeah, in the beginning we only had the work camps that were the short term for projects for the 3 weeks, and in this we used mainly our local volunteers to work on the community projects. After years in the work camps, there was a very big demand that 3 weeks is short for one to live in the community, understand the community, and work in the community. So there was a big desire to make longer the work camps, which was not possible. So by 2002, we started a new program of the medium-term volunteer placement. This now moved from only work camps, but also involving placing young volunteers on projects of other partner organizations.
Natasha, one of the long-term volunteers from Germany, tells us about her experience in Uganda.
We had a lot of challenges. The language, so they are here in the region, they are talking Uganda. I tried to learn it and I know some things, but here nearly everyone can speak English, so it's also good to speak English. And public transport is different to Germany, where we use bodas, we use matatus and all that stuff. So in the beginning we have to learn how to use those things and bargain with the boda drivers and stuff. So I think the beginning was very different, but after some weeks you're very used to it and it's now a normal life.
Most of these volunteers who come at least have a qualification, have an area where they are interested in. So they gain in terms of building up their areas of expertise, then to experience that they get from Uganda. Then the third one is about the culture.
Last time I came to UPA through an organization called Mexico, and I just finished high school, and I had no idea what to do with my life for a while, so I decided maybe join some volunteering, and that way I can travel the world, know a lot of people, and maybe find out what I want to do with my life. I met such great friends from back then, and writing through them through all these years just keep me remind me you had such a nice time, it's a very nice country, you had such a strong connection with the people. There's some way you might be able to come back. And my last year of university, I had the opportunity to come for a few months to do part of my internship here. And I just wrote to my friends at the UPA, and they just facilitated everything to me and made it very easy for me to come, talk to my university, and now I'm here for another month to work in a hospital now as a medical student. UPA makes it very simple for volunteers to come to a completely different culture and nation, fit in. They teach you how the country works, how the people are. They make everything easy for you.
International volunteers gain a lot when they come to Uganda Pioneers Association. I mean, looking at Uganda as a country, there's a lot to be learned from. Then when you come down to Uganda Pioneers Association, looking at their structure, looking at what they're in or what they're trying to do for the youth.
I work in a school. That means I'm an assistant teacher. I'm teaching English in 2 classes. I have some hours a day where I teach. And I have a project at Central Branch as well. When I came here, I lived 3 months in a host family, which was really a very good experience, but now I'm living on my own. And that's not because I didn't like my host family, what everyone thinks, but it was my decision. What happens very often at the beginning is that you really go into your project and you're really disappointed because nothing works out, or you don't really have to do something at the beginning. First you're watching a lot, and even the work here is kind of different from what some people maybe are used to, because sometimes it's just not too much to do, and even you're a volunteer, you have to be clear about that.
When they go to their projects, they are ambassadors of the organization which hosted them. So we give them the detailed information about UPA and also the guest house where they sleep, and we also have some brief discussions about the projects where they are going.
We get international volunteers, and they come to work with us to support our project, to do different roles and responsibilities within our organization.
We go there to evaluate them, assess how they are working, are they feeling comfortable with the tasks they were given, are there some challenges, what do they think we should adjust, and we try to address some of the problems which are there.
We have not had lots of challenges when it comes to volunteers through UPA. I have a feeling that they are thoroughly oriented and inducted and prepared actually to where they are going.
What I really appreciate for me now also being a volunteer with UPA is always the possibility of having a backup system, because not only that I have a mentor I can talk to, no, I have a whole office, a whole organization.
The volunteers really contribute their skills, their energy. You know, sometimes some volunteers come when they are experienced and they really contribute new ideas. They are creative to the projects where they go, and by the time they leave the projects, they have taken them to a certain level.
I just finished my studies and I came here also to volunteer and to gain work experience, but in a different setting, in a different culture, and still apply my knowledge.
As we move along with our international teams, they come to understand and appreciate our concerns. And say, oh, please, I have an idea. How about ABCD? And how can we come in to support you? They are self-driven to ensure that they make a contribution or a difference in these communities, and then that's how we ended up having a piece of land so that we can establish our HIV/AIDS support center.
Since UPA is always the organization who is placing the volunteers in other projects, the projects who are benefiting, I would also say it needs also support for UPA, because UPA is the one organization for 25 years it was still remaining small, even so other projects around are growing bigger through the support also from international volunteers, because of course that's where they're committed, because UPA is basically just a station where volunteers pass through.
When international teams come over here, they stay in host families. They make friendship. They make friends with the families where they're staying, in the communities where they are operating and all that.
I think on both sides, even here in the Ugandan culture, but also if I look back at my culture back home, I think we're still full of stereotypes. All of us. We are facing many stereotypes, so this is really a step towards each other, meeting each other, and get to know each other, and just see people like you and me just living in a different part of the world.
Uganda Pioneers Association, the areas of funding, I would say we are not well positioned in terms of funders. To me, what I know is we have partners that we are partnering with, and most of our partners are in the areas of human resource, not in the area of funds or helping Uganda Pioneers Association in terms of funds. Human resource is also an asset, but this human resource cannot operate minus the funds.
We are talking to Sarah, the Finance and Human Resource Officer of UPA's Secretariat.
Financially, we are not that very good because the funding we have is just limited to only the international volunteer fees. For the short-term volunteers, most of the money that they pay goes almost directly to the projects that they are running. We have the long stroke mid-term volunteers, and especially their money that we use for the running of the activities of UPA. We have programs that we need, like extension of the guest house and also the family Bukomero. There is a building that was already started there, and it was supposed to be a youth center. And maybe we thought that it could also be as an income generating activity for UPA. We need to fundraise, but since we are only three people in the office, we can't run all that. At least I wish that we could also be able to start on our own, having our own funds other than depending on the volunteers.
UPA and the partners try to establish a reliable reverse program.
Yeah, it's also because we've been discussing for long in the different partnerships, the issue of the reverse, the issue of reciprocal, the issue of also giving the opportunity for young people from the south to work on projects in the north, to kind of try to balance the exchange. For long, the exchange has been involved with the north-south. More volunteers come from the north to the south. And it gives us a challenge that sometimes the volunteers in the south don't readily know the environments where the volunteers come from.
It might have been any other area, but by that time it was the UK that had the project. So I said I would try it. Yeah. But miles and miles from Africa, Sam is here to share with us the experience back home, the things back home, and maybe get the side of the way we do them here, and then we see for how we can forge a way forward. It was a stepping stone for me to go through all that I went through, and all that I can count on now, because by the time I joined I was just a secondary school boy. UPA did a lot in my life, and I can count on it when I mention on the positive side of my life and career. Volunteering can make a great impact on community projects, on the country as a whole, if given a chance to be practiced or done.
The biggest challenge is financial. Of course, we have very open invitations for all our partners, for volunteers from Uganda to go to their countries, provided we can meet their costs. And this included the challenges of the tickets, but also a few have been also have faced the challenges with the visa restrictions.
On our travels through Uganda, we saw the vast variety of programs and the impressive commitment of all UPA members. Working with the community hand in hand, together they shape the future.
I would like to see UPA in the next probably 10-15 years as an organization more established on the ground. And I would wish to see that probably each branch can have an operating office. That is one biggest wish. The second would be, of course, the expansion of the office workers. Get more people employed at the office. Of course, the third thing would be growing bigger in the volunteer exchange program, and more especially either the South-South exchange or the reverse, which is the South-North exchange. I would also wish to see more of that growing in the next years.
To me, I feel UPA is taking the right track. The theme of voluntarism, embracing the youth and covering a wider area is a big credit I would give to Uganda Pioneers Association. It should not be entirely depending on the Secretariat to do everything and the branches would sit and wait. But at least I know the few people within the branches, if their capacities are built, yeah, they can uplift the branch up, and you find that the branches and the Secretariat will be joining hands together and helping each office instead of Gulu branch running to the Secretariat, Apache, Pakwach running to the Secretariat for resources. If that is done, then I think Uganda Pioneers Association will be a changed organization and will grow in terms of coverage, in terms of activities, and in terms of all programs that the association will have.
I would like to say to all the members of UPA, of the partners, and all well-wishers that 2014 Uganda Pioneers is making 25 years. And please join this venture.